What a game last week. Some great play and emotion. That's what poker's about. Barry Hearn was the man for whom the cards fell. He's in the semis tonight. The last spot in semifinal one is up for grabs. The heat is on. Welcome to the partypoker.net European Open. Jesse May joined with actor and poker player extraordinaire Michael Greco. And Michael, today let's talk about bad beats.
Bad beats, you get sick to the stomach when you get a bad beat, but it swings and roundabouts. It's part of a poker player's life, and you have to accept them. And the best players accept them with dignity. I have to say that, and I'm gradually just learning to accept them. But
it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Now, a bad beat technically is when you have the best hand, and then the money goes in. And
the money goes in, and basically one of the worst outdraws to have is maybe when the guy's only got 3 cards to hit on the river. And incidentally he does. And this is exactly what happened in the heat the other day. We had Barry Hearn who had King 5, and we had Chris Parker who had 7-5, and basically the flop has come.
Yeah, they were down to 2, so everything was at stake here.
Everything was at stake here. Okay, we've got 7-5-8 on the flop, and as you can see, Chris Parker's got two pair.
He's delighted.
Absolutely delighted. That's a hell of a flop. But there's danger possibilities. There's a flush draw and there's a straight there.
And so at this stage, Barry Hearn was all in. And it's a situation where if Barry Hearn loses this hand, he's out. Chris Park goes forward to the semifinal and perhaps on into the $360,000 prize pool.
Exactly. But you know, Chris Park delighted to see that Barry's got 3 outs with his king. Of course, we all know what's going to happen. We burn the next card, and it comes the ace of spades. And then Chris is thinking, okay, great, there's only one more card to go. Barry's thinking, okay, he's getting up, thinking, I'll get me coat, start the cart, and bang, hits his king on the river. Bad beat. I mean, you just look at that and just go, 3 cards out of the whole of these cards here to beat me, and he's hit one of them.
Yeah, Chris Park was in shock.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did very well to keep his composure, and it was very classy about it. But if that wasn't bad enough, Chris Park still had some money left after that.
Okay.
And they got the money all in another hand. Barry Hearn picked up the ace-jack of clubs. Chris Park had the ace-5. Now, Chris Park was in a bit of trouble, but when the flop came down, all of a sudden, Park is ahead with the 5.
Wow.
And he's looking like getting right back in this match. So even though Barry Hearn had the best hand before the flop, on the flop, Chris Park is a favorite. On the turn, it gets a little bit worse. 4 hearts out there. Barry Hearn needs a jack, a queen, a 7, a heart. And on the river, he hits the queen of clubs and he dances for glory there. And
you know, one or two of these hands is the difference between going out or going into a prize fund of maybe winning $1 million. And as we all know, we've all been there, and it's really difficult to come to terms with.
That's what poker means. A bit of emotion there. Let's just have a look on how Barry Hearn and Chris Park reacted to that turn of events.
Yes!
Well, means a lot to him. That's the kind of emotion you can get in poker, and it's fantastic, winning or losing. But obviously, bad beats a part of the game. And let's just hear from former world champion Phil Hellmuth, a man also known for his grace and explosive outbursts at the table.
Well, when I have a bad beat, I handle it really well. Yeah, right. I go a little bit crazy. What the heck just happened there? But you know what? When I'm really on top of my game, when it's really important, I'm then going to count my chips down. How many chips do I have left? Yes, I'm still in here. Okay, try to stay focused. Try to forget what just happened. Look at your next hand. Study it a little extra long. Maybe count back from 10. Get yourself back in the game. Because you know what? This is an opportunity for you to have a bad beat and still win.
So there we go. The emotions have to roll over you like waves on the sea. But we got 6 players today, and they will be stoic like the wind. Let's see who's in tonight's game and who's sitting where. that's who's in the game. Tough lineup, and we're joined by a man in blinding form and certainly one of the favorites, Ian Frazer. Ian, you just won $500,000 in a similar TV event. Do you approach this one the exact same way?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I won't change.
Was there any key to the game last time that was a key to victory?
I think what helped me win was I didn't change my game right from the first heat. I said every time people were asking me how I was going to play, they know how I play now, and I kept to that right the way through to the last hand in the final. A lot of people say I'm going to play aggressive, I'm going to play hold back and do this. I mean, and then you see them when it gets nearer to the big prize, they don't. They sort of change.
Ian,
I did.
Bad beats, sorry to interrupt, bad beats are an integral part of poker playing.
Yeah.
Have you got the temperament to handle a bad beat?
Yeah, of course, you have to, don't you? Yeah. I mean, you just have to remember all the times when you've been on the better side of it. I mean, it does drive you potty. There's no getting away from it. There's some of the things you feel like doing, but you just got to laugh and crack on with it, really. But
when we come back, the spruce is loose. Who's the goose? Coming up, the start of this partypoker.net European Open. So here we go. The players are in. Myself and Michael Greco guiding you through the action. Let's get over to the table. So those are the 6 playing down to 1 for that last semi-final seat open in semi-final number 1. And the players starting with 100,000 in chips as per usual. Blinds at 1 and 2,000. And cards are in the air. So it'll be Steve Platt first to speak. And Steve has never really played outside the Midland satellite area, so he's a bit of a new player, but we've seen first-timers do quite well in this format.
Yeah, it's obviously you got a 6-to-1 chance, but it's a nice hand for Michelle to pick up straight away. Ace-Queen unsuited. Gives you a bit of confidence. If you can win the first hand, she's up a nice against Eula's pocket nines. Probably see a re-raise here, or maybe just a flat call.
This pot has started off quite big. I mean, Michelle raising it 10,000 more. It's making a very strong statement the first hand. And, I mean, if Juha wants to re-raise here, he'll pretty much be committing everything, won't he?
Yeah, and I think you'll see the chips go in. Whatever he re-raises, I'm sure Michelle will call. She's not going to be bullied. I've seen her play before. She's not to be bullied. If Eula doesn't know it, he better be careful, because she's a good player.
Juha taking his time here. Any chance he might just want to call and see the flop?
Oh,
he's pooped all in.
He's gone all in.
Oh my! And Michelle's call. It's the first hand.
I told you, Jesse. I knew she'd call whatever he would do. Whatever he would raise, I knew she'd call him. She didn't want to be bullied.
Juha Helppi taking his time and then thinking he can put the moves on Michelle, but she will not back down.
No.
And all of a sudden, a pot here for the early double through. They're both all in. This is the first hand.
First hand, I cannot believe. I thought he might re-raise her, but I cannot believe he's put her all in. I knew she'd call. I just knew. I've seen her play before. She's not going to be bullied.
Well, Juha just got off the plane from Finland. To keep the motor running is the call here. Because if an ace or queen comes, he'll be out. And if it doesn't come, Michelle will be out.
It's pretty much 50-50, isn't it? Oh, it's not looking good for Michelle now.
That king split Michelle's hand wide. She still needs ace or queen. The 9s are in the lead.
We've seen a queen already being discarded by Lascelle, so she's got 5 cards to hit.
And that jack was not a bad card for Michelle. It gives her 10s now.
She gives her 10s.
There's 4 10s, 3 queens, 3 aces. That's 10 cards to hit. Michelle's grabbed her bag, but she's got 10 outs. The 9s are ahead.
What a shame. What a shame.
And Juha Helppi, Michelle made a very strong statement there. She was not going to be pushed around. Worlds colliding, and Michelle Bricknell out in 6th position.
Wow, that's incredible, Jesse. That's such bad luck. You know, the first hand, Juha's got pocket 9s, Michelle's got ace-queen. I knew she wasn't going to be bullied. She didn't hit her ace, she didn't hit her queen, and it's one of those coin flips. It's a 50-50 situation. If she hits her ace or queen, she's got double the amount of chips. Unfortunately, she's got to go back up to the M6 to the Midlands.
And then there were 5 players left. Now,
Wow.
Michael Greco, we've had a chance to talk about bullying. Is Juha Helppi in a position now to be the bully?
I tell you what, he was my pre-tournament favourite, and it just gives him more more petrol's been added onto his fire. He's going to, I think, the player that he is going to dominate his table from the beginning.
And it just goes to show you the way that hand was played out, what premium Juha places on getting that early double up. I thought Patrick Lawrence said all in, but
I think Juha was quite surprised to get a call there, wasn't he, from Michelle? I just knew he would, though. I knew she would.
so one hand and up to 200,000. Blind on blind here. This is Steve Platt's first entrance into the
4,000.
pot, and Juha, who has flopped an open-ended straight draw, is outduked at this stage
4 with 8.
by
Raise
Steve
8,000
Platt's
more,
bottom
12,000.
pair, and he will not be bullied. He will not be bullied. My lord.
Good for him. Stand your ground. He's a very aggressive player, Juha. He's never known what he's going to do. He's one of those Scandinavians who really will raise with absolute trash. But now he's got chips. He could totally bully this table. But I think he'll fold this one. Oh, he's called it.
He has called a 5 or 10, of course, would give Juha a straight. Jack would be trouble. It would give him a pair and give Steve a higher 2 pair. And that ace of diamonds has only changed things in that both players have a diamond. Juha's is higher.
Check.
20,000.
I don't know if Juha knows where he's at here.
He's not giving up, is he, Mr. Platt? He's going to fire that second bullet.
Steve Platt is a newcomer to poker. First time on TV. He's up against someone who's considered one of the best players in the world, and he is railroading him here.
How do you think, Jesse, he'd react if Juha went all in? Do you think he'd call? I don't think he would.
I actually think he might beat Juha into the pot.
Well played, Mr. Platt.
They
Well
don't
played.
back down in the Midlands, and this owner of the Swan Coat, one of the homes of that area, as far as the poker world goes, has just, with bottom pair, taken the chip leader down a notch or two.
Well done. He didn't back down, did he?
I don't think they do back down in Wolverhampton.
No, I'm not going to be bullied that time.
Holy cow. And Helppi will file that one away. And I think the next time he gets in a pot against Steve, he's going to try and have something. So 2 pots, 2 hands, and it'll be Lascelle Barrow in the big blind.
Call.
And Ian Frazer, first words he's spoken have been
Pass.
call.
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 Taking off a flop.
Raise.
You has got a nice ace. Steve's got the same
15,000
hands.
more,
Same hand.
17 total.
Yeah, you was looking at Steve like he's got 3 heads.
Be very interesting to see what Juha does here.
Ian Frazer still got a decision to make. He's got a pocket pair here. 15,000. He's trying to work this out.
There's no point in calling. I mean, it's 7 to 1 chance for him to hit his set. If he doesn't hit, he's got a fold, doesn't he? So you might as well get rid of him now.
Pass.
Now, what does Juha do? Does he re-raise or does he just flat call? Your guess is as good as mine.
Well,
Pass.
that was disciplined.
Wow.
I mean, you could have easily seen Juha getting a rush of blood to the head there, but it looks like he's decided to just wait and let things develop a little bit. He doesn't really have a line on Steve Platt, does he?
No, he doesn't at all. No cards have been shown. I mean, maybe he's thinking, okay, I've doubled up first hand. I can just sit back. Maybe he's taking that stance, Jesse.
Let's check out the ranking of hands. Each 5-card poker hand falls into the official ranking of poker hands. Bottom of the ladder is high card only. A pair just above that, and 2 pair is higher still. 3 of a kind is 3 of a number, a straight. 5 cards in a row of any suit. A flush is 5 cards of the same suit in any order. Full house, 3 of a kind plus a pair. 4 of a kind is self-explanatory, and a straight flush is 5 cards all in a row of the same suit. Royal flush is top of the pops. That's a straight flush, ace high. Juha from the very cold reaches of Finland, and you don't do the rush of blood to the head very often. It's tough even getting your blood to the head in
Sub-zero temperatures.
Pass.
Oh no, Steve
Oh.
Platt is speeding. He's going to be good fun.
Call. And no raise.
Just a flat call from Lascelle. Would have liked to see a raise though. Doesn't know where he stands if he gets a few high cards on the flop. He's hoping obviously to hit a set.
As it turns out, there are no overcards to his 8s in the other 2 hands. But he, oh my. Oh my.
Well, there you go. That just goes to show why you must raise when you've got a good hand in your blinds. Or anywhere really, to be honest. Lascelle's called raise, but there's nothing to raise. So just stick it in, Lascelle.
4,000.
Lascelle has won a tournament down at the Sportsman Club. But Steve Platt here with the 2 pair on the flop.
I'm sure we'll see a raise. Yeah. it's a good
Raise
raise.
20,000 more, 24 total.
And do you think the fact that there's a jack out there will induce Lascelle to lay down his hand?
Yeah, he'll do well to get away from this. I think he'll have to. He's got to think that Platt has definitely got minimum a jack. So, but for him to raise that much, he's got to think he's got better than that. Because Lascelle could easily have a jack.
I mean, this is the 3rd hand on the trap that Platt has basically gone nuts with.
Exactly, and he's not shown any cards.
He's not shown any cards, any fear, any knowledge of the game. He's just bet.
Exactly.
And he could be a danger here.
30,000.
Oh, Lascelle's re-raised him.
Re-raise.
We could see all the chips going in here, Jesse.
40.
We could have our second casualty very, very soon.
You can't make it 30,000
What's the end
total.
of 20 to 20?
Okay, he
so it's
announced
gonna take
raise,
that
and
as
I-
a call.
No, she's 50%, isn't it?
No,
He
just
said
the actual
raise. He
total
said
that
raise
is.
before.
I think they may take this verbal contract that he did say raise,
Right,
Michael,
he just said
as,
it.
as binding, and they're
Yeah.
probably going to force him to put the
He's
minimum
actually
raise in.
matched the bet at 24 with an excess of 10, so it's under 50%.
Yeah, you've got to put it, but he said raise, didn't
Yeah.
he? He said raise. You must put at least 24 more in. You can't raise it up to.
Another 4, well actually another 14
Yeah.
would cover it.
Good decision there by tournament director Mad Marty Wilson. You know, a verbal contract is binding, and even though Lascelle didn't put the right number of chips in, he did
Okay,
say
24.
raise.
Exactly, and the minimum raise is
Another
binding.
14 in.
Okay.
I think we're going to see an all-in here from
That
Platt.
is 48,000.
I think you're right.
He really can't back down from this, surely. Unless he thinks that Lascelle's got a set. Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
all in.
I thought so. All the chips are going in the middle.
That was always going to happen.
Good game.
And
No.
what is Lascelle going to do?
Oh,
Lascelle's
he's
going
called
for
him.
it. Now, Michael, he's not in as bad shape as you might think. It's not only an 8 that gets him out, but a
A
jack.
jack gets him out, or maybe 2 running cards. Even a 7 and a 9. I mean, there could be a straight here for Lascelle. Or even an 8. He's got enough cards, Jesse.
So the players very interested to see what Steve Platt was playing with. He's got the best hand right now, 2 pair, and it is Lascelle Barrow all in. That has given Lascelle plenty of outs. Any 7, any 8, any 9, any jack. There's a plethora of paint in there for him. Here's the river.
Not looking good for him, though, is it? I'd rather been Platt's shoes. No, he's out. We've got a second casualty, Jesse.
Right you are.
Take it, let cover.
Lascelle Barrow follows Michelle Bricknell down the dark, dusty road of red velvet.
That all stemmed from Jesse, the fact he didn't raise with his pocket 8s. Pocket 8s against 6-5. You know, if Lascelle had raised with his pocket 8s, Platt wouldn't have even been in the pot. But as it is, I'm afraid he's walking home, getting in his car and off home.
And 2 pair beats 1.
You know, those of you back home who've just come in and switched on the telly and are watching this, you're thinking, oh, there's only 4 people in here and the program's just died. Don't worry, we've lost 2 people in the space of 2 minutes.
Yeah, just another day at the office. That is, if your office happens to be located on an asteroid. Steve Platt, the catalyst right now.
5,000 more, 7 total.
And Ian Frazer, this is only the 5th hand. Is he showing signs of impatience here?
Yeah,
Queen five.
quite possibly. He wants a bit of the action, doesn't he?
Well, if he meant to isolate Steve Platt, he has done that. But if he means to bluff Steve Platt, the first 4 hands have shown that that may not be the easiest task in the world. Head up here, Ian Frazer. And is this the right strategy for a short stack?
I don't know. I suppose at the moment that the blinds are very, very small, Jesse, so there's no point being too
9,000.
impatient. There's plenty of time, but the way Ian Frazer plays, he just likes to see flops, doesn't he? He likes to play his cards.
Rise 20.
Raised 20,000 more, 29 total.
Steve Platt has outflopped Ian here. Pair of 7s is good right now. And Ian
Can't keep it in, sure.
has run into a bit of a buzzsaw.
I think Ian knows he's not going to re-raise them all in because he'll get called.
If he doesn't know that, he hasn't been sitting at the same table
Exactly.
that we've been watching. I think he is. I mean, Ian Frazer, he won $500,000 recently at the poker table, and it was not through luck. It was through some very shrewd play and skill. So he's shown us he has plenty of patience. That was a little bit uncharacteristic.
It was uncharacteristic. Yeah, maybe he feels he wants a bit of the action, but you know, we've only had 5 hands, Ian. Take your time, mate. You're a great player. I've seen him play, and he can bluff many an opponent. But at the moment, he just.
But you've been on tables where there's been these early chip leads and these early double throughs. Does it all of a sudden put you under pressure? Does it bring you out of your comfort zone?
I think that's exactly it, Jesse. There's only 4 of you now, so you've got to remember premium hands are going to be very short because there's only 4 of you playing. So any ace, any king is actually quite high. So maybe he's thinking, yeah, these guys are nearly on 200,000. I want a piece of this. I want to double up as soon as possible as well.
Steve Platt from the Swan Code putting the money in. Ace-4. It's the best hand he's seen so far before the flop, and will be 3-way if Juha does not exercise his option, which he is loath to do with the, well, it's better double down hand in blackjack, frankly, than in poker, the 8-3. And a pair for both Patrick Lawrence and Steve Platt.
Check. Check. 10,000.
He's not going to stop, is he, Steve?
He's got the best hand right now.
It's going to be relentless.
Pass.
And, Patrick Lawrence is an attorney. I don't know if he's faced any cases this tough. Steve Platt, and he's only shown 1 hand down so far, and that, of course, was the 2-pair, the 5-6 offsuit. But what are the other players like Juha, players like Patrick? What is the best strategy to deal with someone like Steve Platt? Do you trap him?
I think you've just got to wait till you've got a great hand, haven't you? Or you've got to go. You've got to bully him as well. I think with Patrick at the moment, because he's obviously got less chips than Juha, he's just got to sit back and wait. Like I said, the blinds are very, very small at the moment. But the most important part is that there are only 4 of you left, so you aren't going to get many big hands. So you can't sit and wait for aces or kings all the time because you're just not going to get those hands.
Call. Call.
Limp in, and Juha has the ace-king, small blind, and a decision.
Raise.
Raise.
Automatic decision there.
To 11,000
Automatic decision,
total.
ace-king.
Right, call.
There's no point limping in with ace-king when you've got 3 other people in the pot with you.
Pass. Pass.
Well, respect given to
Pass.
Juha Helppi there, and he takes that pot down uncontested. Is that the way a small blind make a breeze big enough that you knock the other players out, or?
I think so. I mean, if you just heads up, maybe ace-king could be good. But when there's 2 or 3 of you in the pot as well, you just want to take it down there and then.
Juha Helppi, lots of experience playing against some of the top players in the world. He's won a multi-million-dollar tournament of Aruba, second in the big one in Monte Carlo. Very successful online. There's a lot of very successful Finnish poker players these days.
There are the Scandinavians, the Finns, the Swedes, the Danish. I mean, they're great players. Really, really good players. Very dangerous players. There's a new breed of poker player, the young Scandinavians.
Pass.
Very aggressive.
Pass.
1 with 5.
Raise.
That's a pretty big hand
7,000
for Steve
total.
Platt.
Call.
Quickly called by Ian Frazer, who is not a believer. And you could almost see some situations where fireworks would ensue.
I think Ian Fraser's confidence at the moment is so high, having done so well. It is such a key factor.
He's just outflopped Steve Platt. Those kings looking
10,000.
very strong right now.
I
And
think
how
we'll-
does he want to play him?
I think we'll see a raise here just to see where he is. Because he could be flat calling an ace-king that the other guy's got. So if he raises it up here and gets re-raised, then maybe he knows where he is. I think a raise here would be the best bet. Because you're always wondering, if you're calling with king 7, you're wondering whether you're going to be out-kicked. But when there's only 4-handed,
Call.
oh, he's just flat called.
I mean, Frazer's in a situation now that he may not have wanted to be in, which is that he has sort of half a hand.
Now he's got a dangerous situation. He's got top pair and he thinks he's got the best flush draw. But unfortunately, Platt has got a better flush draw. So a club comes down, there could be fireworks here, Jesse. This is why I wanted him to re-raise. on the previous card just to see where he was. Now he's got himself in a little bit of bother.
Frazer's, he's got to be thinking to himself, I know 2 players have gone out very quickly.
Right.
Do I want to be the third? And he is not scared of it.
Thing is, Jesse, he's raising now, but he could see a re-raise, or he'd definitely see a call because, you know, Steve Platt's got the best draw. He's got the best draw. He's gonna get called. If he'd done it before, he might have got rid of him.
Platt will be drawing live to an ace or a club if the money goes in, and it has every appearance of going exactly that way.
Platt's got the money in front of him. He's got to call him. He's got the money. He's got the chips in front of him.
This pot is 69,000 already.
Yeah, he's going to call him.
Cool.
The club comes down. We could see our third casualty.
100% right.
Yeah.
The money's in there. Steve Platt needs an ace or a club. Anything else, and Ian Frazer will take home the bacon.
No.
And that deuce was a gift from heaven for Frazer.
I think Platt's got to just wipe his hands of this one because I think what.
All in.
Oh, he's gone all in. Unbelievable. He's gone all in. Well.
Well,
This is our 8th hand, and we could have our 3rd casualty.
I've got news for you. No matter what it is, it's a lovely bet.
Oh no, actually, we can't.
Ian Frazer has just won $500,000 against some of the best poker players in Europe. Steve Platt's been playing only a couple months, and he has put Ian Frazer in a stew here.
I mean, amazing call if he makes it. I was wrong. If he does call, we won't obviously lose Platt because he's got more chips. But what a hell of a bet that is.
Can he fold is the question. Does he have enough chips to fold and still have a chance in this tournament?
We see, if he'd raised on the flop, Jesse, then he might have seen where he was. But he might think that his King 7 is losing to a King Queen, a King 10, a King Ace. That's the only thing about playing a King with a small kicker. But when you're 4-handed, you've got to think top pair is pretty good.
I think I'll have about 35,000 left if he folds. He does not look happy. What do you think?
What I would do, I would study my opponent. I've got to study my opponent and see whether he wants a call or not. I've got to see whether my opponent's rigid, whether he's not smiling properly, whether he doesn't want to call. You can really look at your opponent and think, actually, you don't want me to call here, so I'm going to call.
You want me to call you? Of course I do.
When people say that, Jesse, they do not want a call. Believe me.
He has called. Ian Frazer made the right.
Ace King.
He made the right move.
Well done, Ian Frazer. Well done.
Well, that was just class there. I
Just
mean,
by asking him, Jesse, do you want to call? And him saying, course I do. He knew.
what a fantastic hand. I mean, Steve Platt, that bet on the river is nothing short of fantastic. But Ian Frazer, up to the challenge. He is a poker superstar. Make no doubt about it.
Yeah, that separates good players from bad. I mean, that was a great call. You just have to think, okay, what is this guy raising with? What has he hit? Why has he gone all in? If he's got a big hand, why would he put me all in? Couldn't he just eke a few more chips?
Frazer flopped the top pair, but he never really liked it. On the river, the big bluff by Platt, called by Frazer, and kings up takes the money. This boat chugging along, and 2 have gone overboard, leaving 4 to the door. Only 1 seat open at the semifinals, so it's all to play for. Welcome back to the partypoker.net European Open action on the table. I'm Jesse May, joined by Michael Greco.
Pass.
6-4 suited.
Raised to 6,000 total.
He likes to see flops. He likes to... I've seen him play before. He does like to see these small connectors play.
Call.
Ian has way the best hand, but has not moved on it.
No, I think he respects Juha's call there. I think that's why. Because he could be out-kicked. So why re-raise him?
They both missed here. Ace high leads.
Check.
Juha is the aggressor. And in no mood to leave chips behind.
8,000.
Tell you what, if you don't raise before the flop, it's very tough to call a bet now, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, he's got to think, okay, Juha, if you've got a 3, would you bet that amount of money? If you've got a queen, well, then you've got a queen and I'm beaten. But I'm just going to see the next card and see what you do.
Yeah.
I think that's a good call.
Ace or Jack would make Frazer's decision a lot easier, but that 4 has suddenly made Helppi the best hand. And he's decided he's got enough to check. Here's the river. 4s and 3s all of a sudden leading, and now they're definitely ahead. Helppi can beat everything that doesn't involve a queen.
12,000.
I think we see a call here from Juha. I think we'll definitely see a call here from him. I'll be surprised if he puts this down. Ian showed weak. Oh, he's thrown away the best hand.
Wow.
Well, what could he put him on? A queen? Surely not. Surely he would have got a raise. I'm quite surprised there, Jesse. I would have called that straight away.
A respect given from Helppi to Ian Frazer, and Ian Frazer winning a nice pot there that he was not entitled to by the time the river card was dealt.
I mean, I know we can see the cards, but I'm just trying to put myself in Juha's position. Ian's checked it twice, and yet he's bet when the river's come. Now he's got to think, has that 2 or whatever came on the river, has that improved Ian's hand? If it has, then he's beating him with his 4s. So I find it very strange, and maybe he was getting good value for his 12,000 as well.
Action on Helppi here. Blind still 1 and 2, amazingly. Still first level. Platt in the thick of it. From the button. And now, Patrick Lawrence. This is the best hand he's seen this evening. And he's got Platt in very, very tough shape.
Yeah.
I think Platt
Turn to go.
looked like he might be counting out a re-raise. But he has just called. Those yellow chips only worth 1,000. And it's 10,000 on Frazer, who's got, well, a hand he knows he's not best, but it's got those speculation possibilities, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you miss the flop, there's no way you can possibly win. So get rid. If you can limp in cheap, Jesse, fine, but you can't call a raise with that. Unless you've got so many chips, you can then bully them on the flop.
26,000 in there, and both players have hit the king. The jack plays, and there's a scary ace on board. Patrick Lawrence, he looks at his chips. He's
gone all in,
yeah,
Jesse.
well, I mean, he's at a situation where he doesn't have that much, really. He can't really be betting and then leaving anything behind, can he?
I tell you what, the ace is going to save Steve from calling here, I think. If there wasn't an ace on the flop, Steve might call this. But he's got to think, okay, maybe he's got ace with a bad kicker. That's why he's made such a weak bet by going all in. Because you've got to think, if he's got a great hand, Lawrence, then why would he go all in? Steve's got to surmise his situation here. He's got to fold. He's got to think he's losing to the ace.
It's a pretty big bet, 56,000.
It is. It's a big bet, but I think he probably thinks that Lawrence has got the ace. Yeah, I think it's definitely saving it. If there wasn't an ace there, I think we could have seen a call.
56, pass.
Well, as you said, it wasn't the toughest fold in the world, but it is the first hand Platt has laid down, so that is a new dimension to his game. And Patrick Lawrence, happy enough to finally win a pot. It's the first pot he's won.
No, give him confidence, Jesse. He's won his first hand. He's got a few chips back, and he's in amongst the big boys again. Okay, Steve Platt is still just in the lead with 178,000. He's won 7 hands, whereas Juha Helppi, who was only 6,000 behind, has won 2. And Ian Frazer, who's only 10,000 behind, has won 2. Bringing up the rear, Patrick Lawrence with 82,000.
Very unorthodox style of play has Platt, but it served him well so far. And if there's one thing that he has achieved with his table image here, Michael, is that he is not to be bluffed.
Well, I'm just looking at his bio here. He says, and the player that he most admires and thinks his style is very similar to is the own Phil Ivey. And we all know how he plays.
Total 8,000.
He does play a bit like Steve, actually, every hand.
Call.
There's been a raise here from Patrick Lawrence, who's making a little tune of his own. They've both missed the flop, Patrick and Ian.
Check.
And we'll see if Lawrence will continue to represent the ace. Good, he'll get it by.
Yeah, I think if you've got to
8,000.
give it one first shot.
Both these players bouncing up and down, ever so slightly in their seats.
We won't see a call here from Ian, but apart from a fold, we might see a re-raise. I know I've seen him before. I know he likes to do this. He likes to do this move. He likes to re-raise with nothing, and he's reaching for his chips.
If he can make this move, it's only that he must have picked up some kind of tell on Patrick Lawrence. I mean,
I've seen him do this many a time, Jesse, and he knows when he's completely missed the flop, and he senses a little bit of weakness.
Raise.
Here we go. Oh, I thought he might do this.
wow, this is incredible.
16 more.
What did he see?
I think he sees a weak player, and he's got to think, okay, if you think you've got a hand, I'm going to represent a bigger one.
Lawrence must be wearing a sign on his back that says "Kick me."
I tell you what, if Lawrence comes over the top of him, I will take my hat off to him and think, what a great player. Because obviously if he comes over the top, he can't lose.
Fold.
No. It's a good play by Ian.
Oh my! The 7 high. No draw, no pair, no chance, no how. And Ian Frazer has just re-bluffed the bluffer.
Well, the check raise is a very, very stylish move. If you can pull it off in poker, you can win a hell of a lot of chips. But it can be expensive.
Well, Frazer went out a few weeks ago and bought himself a new Ferrari
Good
from
man.
his poker winnings, and sure that that handle looked very nice, driving around in style.
The win at the UK, that was fantastic. I mean, that's what we all play for. It's like when you hear the celebrities talking about when they play football, you know, and snooker players, everything. They all want the big win, and it was the same with poker. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic experience. I had a real good time. $500,000 obviously was a big boost. Yeah, fantastic. I have a very good style of playing. I'm not going to change it for anyone. The guys have got to be ready for the way I play.
You know, I mean, when a player is in form and he's had success, it just it makes the decision so much surer, so much easier. I mean, you really can see a guy on top of his game here, can't you?
You do. It breeds confidence. You know, look at Michael Owen, who's been scoring goals greatly now for Newcastle and England. When you're out of form, confidence it breeds bad confidence. But when you're hitting goals, you're hitting more goals.
Ian Frazer dipping down to the deuce 6 this hand. There's 3-way. Steve Platt limped in on the button, and Patrick Lawrence finding a little more at this table than he's bargained for so far.
And no one's hit the flop there, Jesse.
A bottom pair for Ian, but it does not look good.
Especially with your kicker.
10,000.
Patrick Lawrence, he's just gotten caught bluffing and he's come right back out. And you gotta admire him for his stubbornness.
That's the lawyer in him, I think.
He's a doer. He's not a watcher. He's a doer.
4.
I think if Platt hadn't called, we could have seen another re-raise from Frazer
Oh,
there.
that was hysterical. The best hand is just folded. There's
Yeah.
been, and now Patrick Lawrence, actually his ace high is winning. He's gotten the pair out of the pot, and unless it comes a 9, a 7, or a king, Patrick Lawrence might be on his way to victory this hand.
I think Patrick Lawrence, unless he's not hit this, he's got to be fearful. Unless he fires that second bullet, no, he's checked.
Check.
He's got to
Check.
hope an ace comes. That's his only hope. No, he's completely missed it.
If Patrick Lawrence tries to bluff here, it's going to be a short walk to the red
Check.
door.
Ooh, I thought he was going to say all in there.
20,000.
I really did.
Fold.
I really thought he was going to say all in there.
Well, Lawrence hits the straight on the river. I mean, Platt does. Lawrence caught bluffing again, and now starting to think about his 48,000. Is it time to hit the panic button?
I tell you what, if he keeps doing this and keeps getting caught bluffing, I'm not going to hire him as a lawyer. I know that. When will I know he's telling the truth?
Not mine.
Steve Platt, chips aplenty, rings of red, blue, and yellow, and he's got to feel pretty comfortable with the way things are going so far. He reminds me a little bit of another Wolverhampton player, from a Bridge North player, Graham the Machine. Well, I know Steve knows quite well. He's got that same kind of reckless aggression that served the machine so well.
Very similar to another Wolverhampton player who's dear to our hearts, Mr. Mad Marty, who Steve Platt has said he's played a 14.5-hour poker session with.
Right.
10 more, 14 total. 12.
And all of a sudden, Juha Helppi, who had stayed silent for about 3 rounds, just came out firing with the Jack-7, and he's maybe picking up on Patrick Lawrence's weaknesses.
Steve Platt is still our chip leader with just under 200,000. Juha Helppi's not far behind with 178, equal with Ian Frazer's 178. And poor old Patrick Lawrence's bluffs aren't working out, unfortunately slipped down to 46,000.
Patrick Lawrence in the 1 seat there, or the 2 seat, is frantically counting his chips.
Well, frantic is an interesting word, Jesse, because the blinds are now, what are they, 2 and 4, 6,000 per round. The rounds, there's only 4 of them there, so it's going to come round to him pretty quickly. You're either under the gun or on the button, or you're in the blinds.
Raise,
So 46,000 isn't going to last many rounds.
And Juha, ace-deuce, not only considered a good hand, but the way he's looking at Patrick Lawrence smacks of, I can smell your fear.
Exactly, smacks of, I'm going to re-raise you here, possibly all in. Are you going to put your whole tournament on the line?
Raise.
There you go. It was coming, wasn't it?
27,000 total.
The wolf strikes.
Poor Patrick's getting bullied around this table.
Tell you what, he could do worse than to stick all his chips in here. He's behind, but 40%. Do you think he may lose patience?
Yeah, you're right. He's looked at it and gone, okay, well, I'm going to make a stand here. I'm not going to be bullied anymore. If I go out, I go out. I gave it a shot. If I don't, if you want to call me, call me. It's a good bet. I'm not sure whether Juha is priced in here. Do you think? It probably is.
I think he's going to ask how much it is, and I don't know what the answer is. This pot is about 77,000, 20,000 more, and
he's got a call. He's getting odds.
I think he may feel like he's getting odds, even if Patrick Lawrence has a bigger ace.
Exactly.
I think 17.
Sorry, that's 10, 15, 16, 17. What did I say? 12.
You said 12 about
Sorry.
20.
Sorry.
24.
That's 15, yeah, 17.
I'm going to call.
Yeah, he's getting odds. He's getting about 6 to 1, 5 to 1, isn't he? He's got to call. 5 to 1 heads up is pretty good value.
So Patrick Lawrence is all in, and he is behind. Juha Helppi will be relieved to see that he is not out-aced, and really it's anything but a king or 8 here.
That's right.
And Patrick Lawrence saying everything including the kings and 8s, please.
Maybe spades. Is that what he wants? No, they've both missed. The ace is still winning, Jesse. There's no split pots here.
The lawyer in trouble. 3 kings, 3 8s. There's no draws. That face card is painted a little low. 1 card to come. Has to pair Patrick.
Guilty. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. He's hit the river. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. He knew it was coming.
His face was expressionless. He never moved a muscle.
Didn't move a muscle, did he?
And that was just what Patrick Lawrence needed. There's
the smile. We haven't seen that since the beginning.
But the longer these players keep waiting for Steve Platt to crash and burn, the bigger the distance gets between them. If he gets in there in a live shot, they're going to, Juha, Ian, or Patrick is going to find themselves all in and heart pitter-pattering.
And the good thing for him, he hasn't shown many hands. He showed his 2 pair, which was great. But he hasn't had premium cards either. He's done so well. I'm really impressed with his play.
Well, he's hit every flop, hasn't he?
Every single flop he's hit. Incredible.
Oh, my.
Oh, here we go. We've got to see a re-raise here. Maybe even an all-in.
Ian's just trying.
We could see an all-in, huh?
I think he's just trying to slow down his thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
Re-raise.
Yeah.
Re-raise.
Making sure it's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Is it all in?
No, I don't think it is now.
Platt may call.
Oh, he may go all in.
And Lawrence very interested in these proceedings.
Hmm.
Oh, we could have a tag-along customer.
I'm all in.
Yep, I thought so. I thought that was the only way he could win this hand here and now was by going all in. It's too big a bet for others to call.
So it's really the only move
Yeah,
that Frazer has in him, because if he just makes a small re-raise and then he misses the flop,
He knows.
Platt
Yeah.
will eat him up like a plate of oysters.
Exactly. We could see a call here. We could see a call with King Queen suited.
Wow.
Does he want to take the risk?
It's been a raise and a re-raise.
127,000.
Well, there's been. He's called.
Wow.
He's called. I thought he'd call.
And that's gonna. I mean, Frazer is gonna be very surprised. I bet he thinks he's beat.
He definitely thinks he probably thinks he's beaten to
I bet he
maybe
thinks-
pocket jacks or queens or something.
Frazer's feeling sick to his stomach. And Platt's got 2 live cards here. Now, it's hard to imagine him calling, but
No, he's not going to call this.
Change or
He's got to think he's losing.
this is a big pot. I mean, he could take 2 players out in one go.
If he calls this and wins the hand, then I'm going home.
you're all ordered.
Yeah, sorry about that. I only took 10 from here, didn't I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's folded.
Yeah, totally.
Steve Platt has folded. That's a very mature decision, but it's going to be Patrick Lawrence all in. And Ian Frazer will have a few chips back.
Okay, so king.
It's going to be
Frazer's in a very strong spot.
he's in a strong spot, but he doesn't want to see that queen, obviously, does he? You know, how many times have you
Not a
been in
good
a position when you've got ace king, someone's called you with king queen and they hit their queen? It happens a hell of a lot.
Tell you what, Steve Platt may have made that fold, but half of Bridge North was rooting for him to call. I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
Guarantee that. He would have been in best shape, actually, Jesse, wouldn't he, with his jack 9?
There's the king.
Oh, he would have had his flush draw as well.
And Ian Frazer, it's a good card for him. He's got the best kicker. Patrick Lawrence still needs a queen, or he's going to be out of this tournament.
Another diamond, and that would have made a flush for Steve Platt. There's the ace. It's all over.
It's all over for Patrick Lawrence. River card is immaterial.
Good hand.
That was a diamond.
It would have made the flush, but unfortunately, he would have lost to a full house. Look at that. Ace, king, and king, queen. Frazer was in a great shape there. Not only did he hit his ace, but he's hit 2 kings, and he's made a full house.
Sorry? I know where I'll be popping into. Yeah.
Small blind still to be placed, 3,000. Action on seat 2.
So he may decide that he wants to raise with this.
Oh, he's going to have to.
Raised to 15,000 total.
It's not a huge raise, but it does send a notice. It'll be 12,000 on Platt.
Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. Jack 5 of diamonds is like pocket aces to us. To Steve Platt, that's a good hand.
Call.
What can they do to get rid of this guy?
Pass.
Frazer doesn't want to be involved. The Jack, a key card for Juha. A 5 is Platt's hopes and dreams.
At least 2 diamonds on the flop would be great. Well, there's 1.
2 hearts and made a flush
Oh,
draw.
that's a
Juha.
fantastic. Great flop for Juha, that.
And the decision is making his fast play it or slow play it.
I think he'll just slow play it. I don't think he really wants to get rid of Steve Platt. Maybe just a few thousand, 8,000, something like that. Just to maybe entice him into the pot.
Helpy's trying to read a sheet of glass over there.
15,000.
15,000. Well, if he gets called, he wouldn't be too displeased.
Pass.
Score 1 for Juha Helppi. It is the first significant pot he's won off of Steve Platt since this game began. 3 left, and who's got the sheep shears here? The lamb running circles round the wolves. But still, lots of poker to play. The only sound right now in this studio is People shifting in their seats, and that, for Frazer, may look very big.
Yeah,
Call.
it's the kind of hand you want to try and limp in with.
Call. And no raise.
Oh, we have a family pot here, Jesse. First one.
A couple trappers here, and Steve Platt with the 3 and the 4. Big smile for the free flop. There's 18,000 in the center.
The worst hand probably will end up the best hand. No, not this time.
Check.
A 2 pair for
Check.
Juha, but a double belly buster for Steve Platt. Deuce or 6 would be a very sneaky straight.
8,000.
He's reached for his chips here, Ian, with a... he's totally missed the flop. Now, does Juha just call, flat call?
He's drawing practically dead.
Call.
Yep, I think that's a great call.
Platt is getting a cheap chance here. If he hits his hand, then he may just take out Helppi.
A 6 would be a great card here.
And that has given Ian Frazer some outs. King now would make him a straight of his own.
I think Juha's got to bet it here. He's had 2 callers. There's been 2 callers for Ian's hand. There's a flush draw there. He's got to think they've got something of that.
Yeah, there's 2 flush draws. It's a bit of a dangerous board.
He's
isn't
got
it?
to bet this. He's got to try and get him out of the pot.
25,000.
That's a great bet. That should be enough to get rid of Platt, and it should be enough to get rid of
Pass.
Frazer.
If it doesn't get rid of Frazer, I don't know what he's thinking about. He might think he's got 2 spades.
If he had 2 spades in his hand, he would call instantly because he'd have a flush draw and a straight draw, but he can't call this. He knows there's only 4 cards in the whole pack that can help him out.
Helppi has played this rather sneakily. Is there any chance that Frazer might consider Juha's bluffing?
No, not at all. He flat called him the first time, which is always very dangerous. He's got to give it up, Ian.
Pass.
Sometimes it's hard to give it up, but you know you're beaten. You just get that 6th sense you're beaten.
So Juha Helppi danced with a little danger there, but managed to sweat and burn, taking the pot down.
Played it very well. It could have been a dangerous call for him. There was a flush draw there. One of them could have been on a flush draw. He could have been outdrawn. But Ian made it very cheap, and he wanted to see a turn card. It didn't help either of them.
I was second in World Poker Tour Paris a few months ago, and that was my biggest win. I got 254,000 euros. My game plan is to play pretty aggressive and try to take control of the table if possible, because only the winner gets through. You have to be aggressive and try to win it. Second gets nothing.
He's picking up some nice cards now, isn't
Raised 15,000 total.
He's become a bit of a machine here.
he? Is Platt going to call this? Yep. It's true to form.
Look at Juha's eyes. They're all over
Call.
Steve Platt's hands. And Frazer, is he getting...
Do you think he's getting priced in? Do you think he's getting value for this? I think he is.
I think he's getting bored.
Call.
I think he's just decided he wants to see a flop.
He wants to
this
see
is
a
big
flop.
flop. This is 45,000 in the pot.
Wow.
There's 3 live hands out there. Queen 6, 2 pair.
None of them's got a club. None of them have a club.
Check.
They've all got to be wary of this, Jesse. But look, Steve Platt's got 2 pair.
Oh, yeah, the bear hiding up in that little tree, ready to stick his jar in the honey pot.
Do you think Platt's a little bit wary that someone might have a club or an already made flush?
Check.
Action on Helppi now.
All checked.
He wants no part of it. There's a bundle of money out there. A jack would make Juha straight. Oh, what a card. What
Check.
a card.
Check.
4 clubs on board and
All
nary
checked.
a club in any paw.
No one wants it. They're all afraid that someone's got a club.
Steve Platt trying to work
Check.
this out. He'd be happy to check it down.
Yeah,
Check.
they're going to check it down. Steve Platt's going to take this pot.
Check. Okay, gentlemen, to play hands.
Queen is enough.
Yeah.
The 6 just insurance. And Steve Platt give a little speech, taking the pot down. But you know, he may have. I don't know how big a bet he would have called, but he was certainly prepared to look someone up.
That was a nice pot for him there. Now Juha's got to think, okay, I've raised quite a lot here with my ace-10. and I've got a call with a queen 6. What the hell have I got to bet to get this guy out?
Juha just put his glasses on and said, they don't do that. This doesn't happen on the World Poker Tour.
I mean, if you'd have seen Ian Frazer's cards, he would have been flabbergasted. 2-4 of spades. He's called my re-raise with 2-4 spades. Wow.
And Steve Platt not far away from 300,000 of the 600,000 on this table, and he is in a mood right now to increase his lead. Raise, well, Steve Platt has played a lot of hands, but one thing that's gotten respect this evening is his raises before the flop.
Most definitely. They couldn't wait to fold their cards, could they? 6 with 6 is it's a tricky kind of bet, isn't it? But it's still only 6,000 more to see a flop. And yet they passed it quicker than you can say pass.
Do you want to change chairs, Steve? Sorry? I'm alright. Yeah, see.
Mad Marty, forgetting Steve Platt's name. He says him 4 times a week.
Raise.
Big raise there from Frazer. 10-6 of spades, and like you say, he doesn't really want action here, does he?
No, I think he's going to get it from Steve, though. Definitely with those 2 cards. That looks like pocket aces to him.
Call.
He is.
No, over the top.
I tell you what.
Vary it a bit. You must know deuce 4 or something.
I think Ian Frazer has a big appetite for danger. He's gotten himself in some very tricky situations this evening.
I like his play. I think he's great. Oh, look at that. He's hit trips again.
Steve Platt has the 3 jacks. If he checks here,
he's got to check here. He's got to check. Ian will probably check his. Oh no, he's reached for his chips. Now this time, please, Steve, you've just got a flat call.
20,000.
You have just got to flat call. He's reached for his chips again, Jesse.
20 with 50.
Raise, 50,000 more.
He's done it again.
70 total.
Ian's got to think, what the hell is happening here?
Pass.
It's the second time.
It's the second time he's hit trips.
Yeah, on Ian Frazer. He had the best hand. He's hit trips.
I better make sure I only play aces now.
And Frazer has done a bundle of chips trying to bluff out Stephen Platt. It's, I think it's a road that many Midlands player has walked down. Ended up scratching a broke ass, pardon me.
Scratching as well.
Pass. Call. No raise.
Frazer doesn't want to steal this with a raise because he knows he's going to get called. So he might as well just see a free flop.
That seems to be the story. Club in Platt's hand.
Check.
And the king high as well.
8,000.
And Ian betting on complete air. Total air ball.
Do you think Steve thinks his 6 of clubs is good?
Oh.
Obviously.
Well, he's prepared to find out. Interestingly enough, the king high is well good right now of Platt, and Ian Frazer drawing dead to a 7 or a 10. That's not a club.
Well, the king high wins it.
Check.
Will Frazer go for it again? And can
16.
That's a big bet. Will Platt call with king high?
I think he might call this. He might think you're at it here. I think he might think you're at it here. He's got to deduce. He's got to think, okay, have you got, you definitely haven't got an ace. Have you got 3 or 5 in your hand?
I've got an ace. Have you got a 3 and a 5?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I thought he'd call this. It's a great call. You know, you got to think, have you got 3 or 5? No. Good call, good call.
He talked out the thought process there, Steve Platt, and he has called down Ian Frazer, whose hand was not only in the cookie jar, it was shoulder deep.
Mm-hmm.
And
couldn't have an ace. I thought, well, I've got a king, I'll have to call.
And Steve Platt not only wins the pot, but he's given lessons to a man who just won $500,000.
Yeah, nice one. Just rub it in a bit more, Steve.
I just thought he was trying to steal me.
You were right, mate. You were right.
It's backwards, that one.
Just rub it in a bit.
I'm all in with you from now on.
Oh, Frazer's a good laugh.
He is. he can't get him though, can he? He cannot get Steve in a pot at the moment. It's a great call though. You know, you've got to be impressed by that. He's thought it out and thought he hasn't got an ace. Probably hasn't got a 3 or 5. I'm winning with my king eye.
Raise
Steve Platt is playing the kind of poker where he says, look, if you've got the best hand, good luck to you. Show me the money.
Cool.
And, Juha just calling with the king-queen. It's a better hand right now, but he seems to not want to get too deep.
No.
If the king comes, and it hasn't, it'll be interesting to see if Platt finds aggression.
Oh, Frazer would have loved to have been in this pot. He would have had a middle pair and a straight draw.
This is a big tester for Juha, but the way he's played that pot seems like he was prepared to lay it down if he didn't make a pair.
Yeah. You know, Juha, king-queen 3-handed is a big hand. Why didn't he re-raise him? Probably because he knew he was going to get called. I don't know. It's great play by Steve. He's all right. He's been hitting flops, but he's been playing well. He's been playing really, really well.
He has not backed down. Of all the country clubs in Wolverhampton, Steve Platt, owner of the Swan Coat, is doing quite a bit of damage.
And no raise.
Well, we're going to see a family pot here. There's low to middle cards. If a few low to middle cards come on the flop, we could see some fireworks.
Nobody's hit the jack. Have to give the advantage to the aggressors.
Definitely.
Check.
I think Steve Platt has got both these two.
Who's
terrified to bluff?
Who's going to hit this turn card?
Frazer, there is no way Frazer is putting a bluff in here.
No way.
Oh, he's just made a flush draw. And he's checked it.
They're going to check this down, aren't they? Unless a diamond comes on the end. No.
Amazingly, Ian Frazer's 10 high is ahead.
Yeah, they'll just check this down. It's too dangerous.
10. Cannot beat it. Frazer had just said to himself, I am not bluffing anymore, no matter what. Little did he know the 10 high would have been a value bet with the best end.
We'll change the dealer.
So the blinds are just about to go up. Let's take a look at how the blinds work in Texas Hold'em. Every poker hand begins with the placing of the button and the posting of the blinds. The button is a disc that represents the nominal dealer. The blinds are forced bets to get the action started. The player to the left of the button puts in the small blind. The player on his left puts in the big blind, usually double the small. Action for this first round of betting will move to the left of the big blind. The button moves to the left with each hand, and the blinds are raised throughout the game to keep the action going.
And really, the shorter-handed this table has got, Michael, the more correct Steve Platt seems to be playing. I mean, his aggression and his ability or willingness to play a whole lot of flops, it's more and more a viable strategy, especially with the chip lead.
I mean, anything can happen in poker, as you know well, Jesse, but it looks more than likely he's going to be heads up with one of the other two. I wouldn't want to play heads up with him. I wouldn't know what he's got, to be honest.
Free flop, and Frazer has hit bottom pair. We'll see what Ian thinks about it.
Check.
10.
10,000.
I guarantee you he's thinking, please don't call.
He's definitely thinking that.
Sometimes, I mean, when things aren't going your way, you just start second-guessing yourself, don't you?
That's right.
Oh.
You see, every time, it's even though Ian has position on Steve, every time it's come to Steve, Steve's checked, Ian's bet, and Steve's come over the top. So, you know, any check that Steve makes, Ian's got to be very wary.
Ian Frazer and Juha Helppi both here to win. So is Steve Platt, and it's become a battle of wills, praying for the cards. And Platt has been very aggressive from his button. Not this time.
Call.
That's a new wrinkle.
Just flat called. Wants to see a flop,
No
cheap
raise.
flop. Oh, he's out kicked here, Ian.
Ooh, what happened there? I did that, you catch that real. The cards ain't that good.
He was taller when he came in, wasn't he?
He was. He's been steadily crushed by the man on his right.
A dodgy bleeding
Both
jam.
Ian Frazer, a paucity of red chips. Those are the 5,000 ones. Although he has outflopped Juha Helppi here.
10,000.
You know, when you...
Re-raised.
Yeah.
15 more. 25
This is the
total.
classic.
Helppi has just been so able to spot weakness in Ian Frazer, and this is probably one of the problems of playing.
But they're not the aces.
I think Juha made his mind up. If Ian was going to bet this, because he's completely missed the flop, he was going to come back over the top. You can't just call that bet when you've got nothing. You've either got to fold or re-raise. If Ian decides to go all in here or re-raise because he thinks Juha's trying to out-bluff him, then Juha, he takes a pot there and now.
God, if Ian Frazer can find a re-raise here,
Oh, it'd be great play, wouldn't it, Jesse, if he re-raised this? Juha's got to put it down then.
it'd be world class. I mean, you know, is there any chance that Juha has worked out that Ian can't have an ace because he just limped in before the flop? But Frazer has worked out the same thing.
Yep.
He thinks Juha would have raised with an ace, and he's just decided that Juha is having him, and he's had enough.
Too good a player to be bullied. Too good a player. He knows the check raise move. He knows Juha is trying to bully him out of the pot.
I mean, this is just two great players. Bluff, re-bluff, and then Ian Frazer coming over the top with a hand. It is good, but if Juha Helppi wasn't bluffing, then he was drawn nearly dead.
Exactly.
What a strong move that was.
But you know what, Jesse? It was a very quick. It was a very quick raise by Juha, wasn't it? His chips almost touched the felt quicker than Ian's.
Yeah.
That's got to be a bit suspect, isn't it?
I don't know. Roll on, Britannia. Ian Frazer keeping himself in this game on the virtue of bottom pair. I think that was really just about all steel and metal myself.
I just think that Juha could have taken a bit of time and then maybe re-raised him. But because he's re-raised him so quickly...
Yeah, I mean, if Ian must have picked up on something, didn't
Exactly,
he?
exactly
He
that.
had to have. He had to have.
Fold.
And 28-year-old poker phenom, Juha Helppi, just been out-duped.
Re-raise. 20 total.
Sticking a little raise in onto Steve Platt, who, as it turns out, hasn't got much at all. But he's optimistic.
I can't... I suppose he's getting 3 to 1 his money, isn't he? He might as well see a flop.
Either way, there's 40,000 in there now. And Juha Helppi out of position. And we'll see if he's out of flop. He is not looking good.
Well, he's hit the flop again, Steve.
15,000.
I think we're going to see a call at least.
If you play the 3-4,
Right.
Yeah.
Raise.
if you play the 3-4, bottom pairs is about what you're going for.
Yep.
So Steve Platt has decided to act on it, and he does not care about the 7.
No.
Pays no heed to the ace.
No.
And he's right.
Yep. He's got enough chips in front of him.
Fold.
He goes, if you've called my re-raise, I know I'm losing. You've got to call my re-raise first. Well done, Steve. Well done.
It's a fine line in poker between courage and insanity. Steve Platt dancing back and forth.
Well, it's all green, isn't it, Jesse? Steve Platt has a huge chunk from that pie. Frazer, not too drastic measures with his 'is purple bet, but Juha Helppi, well, he needs a little bit of help from his friends.
Helppi 10,000 in the big blind, which is about 13% of his chips. Not a huge amount, but significant. Significant.
And another problem Juha's got is when he does eventually go all in, he's got to make sure he does have a good hand and doesn't try and bluff it, because he knows to the left of him is a very dangerous man who's calling a lot of raises.
The only guy he can bluff is Ian Frazer.
Yep.
Come on.
All in. Oh.
I'll tell you what. That's on page 99 of the Juha Helppi playbook.
Exactly.
But nothing else has been working tonight.
That's right.
He did not want to have to resort to that. I guarantee you.
And you hit it spot on, Jesse. He picked the right person to bluff. Not that, Ian Fraser's a bluffable person. He's a great player, but at the moment, he's to the man to his left is very dangerous, and he's calling every raise.
He might have thought about 7 or 8 different game plans. He had to win this tournament. Yeah. All in from the big blind with the 7-2 was something he certainly hoped he wasn't going to have to pull out of the bag.
God, he would have been in dreadful shape because it was Queen 2 against 7 deuce.
Fold.
And in this small blind position, like you say, Juha just praying to finally pick up something he thinks is the better hand. And
there
now he's trapping.
No raise.
Is he going to get outdrawn then?
And Platt has a hand that could not call a raise. Here's the flop. There's 20,000 in the center. Very significant for Juha here.
Mm-hmm. He really is praying to hit an ace or a king, or even 3 clubs.
He hasn't.
He hasn't.
But Platt's missed as well. Does Juha lead at it now?
I think he has to. Platt cannot call this.
14,000.
He either re-raises him or he folds.
I'll raise.
Raise.
25 more.
25.
Oh my.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
39 total.
I told you, this is the way this man plays now.
I mean, Helppi may have been mentally all in before. You just wonder.
He's thinking, why didn't I raise with my ace-king and win the pot there and then? But you know what, Juha? You've just been out-bluffed.
That was a tremendous bluff by Steve Platt. That was something he has not done yet today.
Exactly.
Does he smell weakness?
I don't
know. Does he smell fear?
Quite possibly, because he can see that Juha only has 70,000 chips, and he's literally saying, okay, if you've got the goods, then you've got to pay for it, because I haven't. And he wasn't going to call him. He had no hand. You cannot call with no hand. You've either got to fold or you've got to re-raise.
Fold.
I'll raise.
Raise.
We could see some action here, Jesse.
Platt is just putting Ian through the paces. It's about 4 times in a row now that he has raised Ian's big
Ian's
blind.
25.
He's got to start
Total
thinking, okay,
35,000.
have you got it all the time? We're definitely going to see some action here, Jesse.
Oh, he's not going to fold this in a billion years.
I think he's going to re-raise him all in here.
You can bet your bottom dollar on it.
And do you think he might even get a call from Platt? I think that's the only move you've got, Ian. All in to win this. He's doing a bit of... He knows he's got a great hand. He knows he's winning. Just doing a little bit of acting here. And then he's going to say the words.
I mean, I guess he could try and...
What was the raise?
25.
Maybe he's considering just calling it. I don't know.
25.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
in.
You've got to go all in, Jesse. If you flat call, you don't know where you are on the flop. You've got to stick them all in, thinking ace queen is the best hand here. He might get a call. He might get a call.
If Platt does call him and Frazer goes on to win this pot and double through, it really will open the game wide open.
Wide open.
And now this is a very tough decision for
60,
Platt.
70, 80, 90, 95, 97,000 more to you.
97,000 more.
Ace king, ace queen.
Well, if you're thinking on that line, Steve, then you're right.
Oh, cool.
Oh, he's called him. I thought he called him.
He's taking the chance.
He's taking the chance.
Frazer in good shape here, but he still has to survive 5 cards. If he does, it is going to widen his chances.
Does not want to see a flop 5 or a few clubs.
Yeah, if a 5 comes up, that's the key card. Oof. And that's nothing. Ace Queen High still winning. Frazer, it's risky, but he has got a very good chance of having 264,000 at the end of this caboodle. Two cards, yeah.
His heart must be pumping, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically he's playing for the heat right now.
If a 5 comes, Steve will have 540,000 chips.
That ace meant nothing. There are no split pots out there.
No.
It has to be the 5.
No.
He's 2 aces with the queen. Kicker plays. And I think Platt had been hoping to see a pocket pair there.
Yeah.
And hoping that his ace was live. It wasn't. And Ian Frazer has just doubled up. That is the first chink in Steve Platt's armor. He took a chance to knock a dangerous player out. Did not pan out. And he still got the chip lead, but only by a smidgen.
At first, I wasn't surprised that he might call. But when he said to Ian, have you got ace, king, ace, queen? If that was on his mind, why did he call?
Good.
You know, he called it right, and then he called it wrong. That's the first mistake I think he's made all game.
And don't know if that was good news for Juha Helppi either, who now is going to have trouble putting any pressure on Ian Frazer, as well as Steve Platt. Juha Helppi is really short now. 60,000. He needs to win any pot.
Call.
And
Option.
that 30,000 out there looks like $1 million to Juha, who is not going to chance it with the deuce 7 this time.
No.
Steve Platt on the 6-5, 2 pair for Frazer. All of a sudden, it's turning his way, isn't it?
That's what I was just about to say, Jesse. It's going his way at the moment.
Check.
That's a great check by Ian, that is. He knows he's got the best hand at the moment. Now it's a little bit more dangerous.
Oh, yeah. You know, I hadn't realized Steve has a jack of clubs in there. It was 6-5. He may go for the flush here.
He wants to make it bigger than that, Ian, if you want to get rid of these guys.
15,000.
I don't think that's enough. I really don't think that's
Fold.
enough. I think Steve will call this, hoping to hit the club.
Call.
4 clubs are a flush draw. 5 clubs would make a flush. Here's the river. And kings and queens are good. Bet for value or try and induce a bluff?
No, I think he should bet for value here. I think he knows that he got the best hand.
Check.
Oh, no, he's trapped him. I think he's trapped Steve here.
40,000.
He's going to call straight away.
40,000.
He'll definitely call.
40,000. It's not a massive bet, not considering his stack size, but it is significant. We put him down. Does he want? He hasn't invested that much money.
Call.
He's called quickly.
Yeah.
I thought he called quicker than that, to be honest.
And Platt's bluffing.
He ain't got ace. I knew you wouldn't have a straight.
Ian Frazer is in a very strong position.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a big nut in that.
Raise.
Well, probably the next action is going to involve Juha Helppi. He is so
50,000
low as to be desperate, and he's moved in this first hand of the level. He's found an ace and pounded it. And if he gets not matched up against this queen jack, which he's likely to do. Oh, Steve Platt's got an ace as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's going to be fireworks here. Oh, good fold, Steve.
Sensible
good fold.
laydown. If Ian Frazer can get this queen jack through, Steve Platt will be head up, and there is an ace out. Juha Helppi all in, and basically he just wants to see nothing come on the board to help anyone.
That's right.
He is leading right now. This pot 115,000. This is the most significant pot Helppi has played.
We could be heads up here, Jesse. I do fancy the Jack Queen's chances. There you go. There's a queen on the flop now. He needs an ace, and Steve has already passed one of those.
Not looking good. Running diamonds, a possibility for Juha.
A Jack of Diamonds would be a great card.
The fin is flailing and flipping in the deep waters. Now, the ace no good. That would make a straight for Ian Frazer. It has to be a jack. Only 3 jacks in the deck. And that is all Helppi is down to. Help me, says Helppi.
Nope. We're down to heads up.
Juha Helppi, the early chip leader, out in third. Juha had the best of it when the money went in, but the flop told a different story. The lady, Ian's friend, and the pair of queens held up to take this one head up, and Ian Frazer in a strong position to seal the deal. Steve Platt has been playing out of his skin, but he's got a brick wall to get through. Named champion Ian Frazer, and the Londoner looks ready to pounce. This is what it's all about. 2 left, and those the stacks of the big man, Ian Frazer, who's brimming with confidence, considering what he's been through. And is Steve Platt on the way down? Or does he have what it's take to come over the top? How do you handicap this, Michael Greco?
Well, with Ian Frazer's experience and the fact that he's done so well in tournaments recently, you've got to make him a clear favourite, irrespective if he was a 2-1 chip leader. At the moment, he stands with 404,000, and Steve Platt's got 196,000, so he's a 2-1 chip leader, so he's going to be a formidable force. But all it takes is 1 double-3 for Steve, and it's switched around the other way.
Everything was going Steve Platt's way earlier, but Ian Frazer beat him in a huge hand, and Steve has not recovered. What is Steve Platt's game plan? What should it be right now? Does he want to play flops, or does he want to get the money in?
Get the money in.
Call.
The way he's been playing, just keep playing the way he is.
Raise.
Ian Frazer taking the view that it's time to pound, and no wonder he's found the bullet. He's out of position, but he's got a much better hand, and Platt has laid it down.
I don't know if he's got much experience heads up, Steve, but I do know that he's got to change his game plan, I suppose, a bit, that he mustn't just keep calling all the time, because Ian Frazer's going to raise him quite a lot, I think. He mustn't just keep calling, because that's where he'll eke away a lot of his chips. He's got to be more aggressive and come over the top, and I'm sure we'll see that from him.
Ian Frazer has shown a lot of different aspects to his game. He's actually changed gears several times this evening. Early on, he was doing a lot of bluffing. Then he tightened up, and now that he's got the chips, remains to be seen what his object is here and how to beat Steve Platt. He hasn't really done so much raw swinging with Steve Platt. The way he's gotten the chips from Steve is to wait for the good hands and then push the advantage.
That's what he did with his ace-queen, you know. I'd like to, when we talk to the 2 guys later on, I'd like to ask Steve what was going through his mind when he called with his ace-6, because he called it correctly, that he thought Ian, he was out-kicked, that Ian had ace-king, ace-queen. So I'd like to know what spurred him on to call it.
The Bear from Swan Coat has shown an ability, actually, to do some raw bluffing, and 2 of his bluffs have been called by Ian Frazer. As a matter of fact, you wonder if Ian Frazer has a read on Steve. Free flop here, and they both hit a pair.
Check.
And Ian Frazer, he must be trapping here with the 2 queens.
Definitely. He's going to bet big this, Steve, and I think you'll see Ian coming over the top.
40,000.
Maybe an all-in.
Big worry for Steve Platt is that the 6, his second pair, is no good. He's drawing dead to 2 5s right now.
He's in really, really bad shape. Yeah, he's stuck him all in.
All in.
He can't call this. He cannot call this. I think this time he'll get away from it.
Ian Frazer has announced all in the action on Platt for all the money. If he calls, he'll only have 2 cards in the deck to win with.
Cool.
He's called him!
All in.
I can't believe he's called him Jesse.
Cards, please, gentlemen.
Oh, he's going to see the cards. He's going to be in terrible shape.
The queen is bad, the 6 is worse. Steve Platt in a situation right now.
He's lit the dynamite. The fuse is just about to explode. Spontaneous combustion, here we come.
There's a 5 of spades and a 5 of clubs in there. And the Midlands is on their toes.
Oh, it's all over.
Ian Frazer has ended this one with a very strong fashion. The river card is immaterial, and Ian will be going forward to the semis. Full house, queens up.
Well, sir. You played well, mate. Thanks, mate.
Did you call because I said I had 4 clubs?
Looking at that last hand again, Platt flopped the pair, but it was not enough. Ian Frazer flopped 1, turned 3, and a full house being 2 pairs and ending this barn burner.
Ian Frazer, congratulations. It wasn't easy. It seemed like Steve made you change your game plan halfway through.
Frightened the life out of me, the way he was playing. I knew he was playing good stuff without seeing his cards. I tried to play my game, he kept stopping me in my tracks, so I just had to reel in and wait a bit, that's all.
Steve, defining moment, you called it, you know, with your ace 6 of clubs or ace 5 of clubs. You said, have you got ace king, ace queen, and yet you called him. What was going through your mind?
Well, I got a bit major chip lead at the time. I took a gamble, which really I shouldn't have. Perhaps the inexperience showing over, obviously, UK champion. Outdid me.
That was really the turning point in the game. And Ian, did it seem like for a while there that you were just handcuffed?
Yeah, exactly that. I wasn't getting good cards, to be fair, but every time I tried to do something, this guy was just coming over the top all the time.
Very aggressive.
So I just hoped that I'd get an hand and I'd get some chips back, and that was what happened. I was a bit lucky.
Well, Ian Frazer going through to the semi-final stages of this partypoker.net European Open. Join us next week. Big names on tap again. Surinder Sunar, Roland de Wolf, and of course, a dangerous Finn, Yanni Hellraiser Sointula.